With the finale of Better Call Saul, we've already talked about it. You can check out our videos and all of our ending explains about it. We will have a review as well as an analysis on the whole show coming out this week, so stay tuned for that as well by hitting that subscribe button, hitting that notification bells up here. Subscribes to you. I'm just all over the place today, but make sure you subscribe because we're on the road to 25,000 subscribers. At 25,000, we will do a giveaway, so tune in for that. But let's talk about Walter White's biggest regret. One of the big things that we actually talk about a lot in this episode is regret and the time machine. This is something that Jimmy brings up to Mike in the desert as well as to Walter when they're waiting to see where they're going to be transferred with the vacuum guy. And during these conversations, Jimmy sort of always shielding himself from his true regrets and more or less trying to be the Saul Goodman character, talking about money and all of that. But I don't think he's the only one that's doing this. I think Walter is also one of the people who here is trying to shield the true person he is inside for this Heisenberg persona that he has put on for the past several months. And I think that this is definitely really put in place and given the most up close focus when we get to that watch that he's looking at. And so at first glance, I was kind of like, a watch, is he mad about what he did with his time or what's going on with that? I think he's definitely reflecting on the time that he spent doing everything he did instead of spending that time in something more meaningful such as his family and all of that. But I also think that the watch represents more or less his regrets and his guilt towards Jesse Pinkman, who he pretty much outed out in the desert and would have been fine if he hadn't opened his mouth about him at all. And he sort of now reflects back in that moment, I think during the final moment, about what exactly he did to Pinkman right there and the fact that he was actually the cause of everything for Pinkman's downfall. Because if you go back to watch Breaking Bad, you know that Pinkman was trying to keep sort of Walt in line to things and not really get too far ahead on all of these endeavors he was getting into. He was sort of more or less the more level-headed person of the two when you go back and rewatch the series. But Walter was always wanting more. He was always trying to do more than he could handle. And I think Jimmy puts it best that he was definitely the reason that Walter never got killed or even put in prison, because he was keeping him in check. But by the end of the whole series, Jimmy himself wasn't even able to keep Walter, and that's where we saw the spiral end come to it. And I think that this is definitely more or less him reflecting on all of that, looking at this watch, because this is the watch that Jesse Pinkman actually gifted him on his birthday. And so this added more weight to that moment of regret, because I think his biggest regret is definitely going to be the fact that Jesse could have been dead at that point, which is something he thought. But I think as we get more down the road, he realizes that he is sort of being enslaved and tortured. And so this is definitely what eats him up the most by the time that Felina comes, and the reason that he goes to do this big rescue and hurrah moment in order to sort of get that regret out of him. And I think that definitely fits in line with the whole thing about Jimmy and Walter's ends, is that Jimmy is sort of coming to terms with what Kim actually did and sacrificed herself in order for the truth to prevail and become this person that she is. And he realizes that he has to do the same. And so we see this sort of killing of Saul Goodman in order to protect Kim, and Jimmy gets locked up, but the true Jimmy's out there, and Kim knows this as well. I think the same thing can be said about Walter White, who sort of went into hiding and tried to avoid everything, and at the same time he sort of realizes that, is this really how he's going to finish things off with this regret of knowing what he did to Jesse and now Jesse's predicament? Is he really going to leave Jesse to just suffer and all of that? And I think that's the reason that he eventually does also come back and try to help Jesse out and get him be free. So this is definitely the end and the killing of Heisenberg and the true Walter White coming out. And I think that this is what he sort of was thinking when he was looking at that watch right there on the table, is that was his regret. Although he didn't say this, he sort of shielded it as well by talking about the company, but not really the truth about what he was feeling at the time, sort of what I think Saul Goodman was doing at that time as well. So this is definitely more or less why I think that this is one of the best written shows for sure, and just wraps it all really good with the Breaking Bad universe as well. And I thought that was something incredible to be told right like that. Just beautiful and great. So let me know your thoughts and opinions on it, about the watch and all of that. Definitely check out my other videos I did on Better Call Saul. We did a Walter White kill count video as well, so go check that out also. But yeah, like I said, Better Call Saul definitely wraps up the whole Breaking Bad universe beautifully, and I think for Walter White's final scene to be that of a reflection towards what he did to Jesse and used them, and the predicament he leaves them in that moment, really ties it all back beautifully to the ending of Breaking Bad, as well as the El Camino movie that follows Jesse after that journey as well. So definitely great material to look into if you really want to check it out again, and I will definitely be going back to El Camino after this. But anyways, as always, that is going to do it for me. If you haven't already subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. We are on the road to 25,000 subscribers, less than 300 to go for 24,000. At 24,500, we will be talking about the giveaway we will be doing once we hit 25,000 subscribers, so you don't want to miss out on that. Also, check out my video I did on Wednesday's trailer that came out for Netflix's new show that's coming out this fall, which follows the Addams Family. I also have some other videos coming out tomorrow on American Horror Stories, as well as we have the Pretty Little Liars finale to talk about as well. So there's a ton of stuff we're going to be discussing. You don't want to miss out on any of that, so make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Check out the videos on the left too at the end of the video if you haven't already, and also follow us on Twitter. Follow us on TikTok. Culture Elixir is the name. We are the Culture Elixir on Instagram, and we also have a website, cultureelixir.com. All will be provided down in the description. So come on down, check it out, and keep following us for more on the things you love. We do have a podcast dropping tomorrow talking about the latest horror news, like the new Saw, the new Insidious, and a lot of other fun stuff to talk about. Spooky season has started, and what am I talking about? Spooky season never starts or ends. Spooky season's all the time. So we got a ton of stuff to talk about on that podcast, so make sure you're listening in. But as always, appreciate you hitting that subscribe button. Subscribe button's down here. Notification bell up here. And as always, stay safe, stay positive. Hey, if you're still listening, really appreciate you making it to the end. As I said in previous videos, we do have a podcast, so I will be leaving a link below for the Buzzsprout link, as well as you can find it on Spotify, and some of the episodes, probably all of them actually, will be uploaded onto YouTube as well. So wherever you want to listen to, make sure you tune in. Tomorrow will be our first official episode. We did a pilot episode already, so if you want to go check it out, go ahead and check it out. It's already up on the channel. We talked about upcoming horror movies and all of that. This podcast will be centered around horror stuff. As we get into spooky season, we'll be ramping it up more, so stay tuned for that. And as always, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe, like, comment, share, all the good stuff, and don't forget to hit that notification bell. As always, stay safe, stay positive.